Hi, this is Tim and Joel.
Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses,
A podcast about the outdoors, hunting, and
and being a steward of the land. Tim, welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses. It's nearing the end of, thank God, 2020.
Yeah, we need to get rid of 2020.
Yeah. So you had a great idea. Today's episode is all about, hey, let's kind of recap what 2020 was all about for us. And obviously there's a lot of things going on with the virus and economy and election and you name it, right? But for us, it was a big year and a fun year.
Big year. You know, I was just looking at our YouTube channel, and it's been over 5 months now where we've been putting out episodes weekly of content. And gosh, it just doesn't seem that long, does it?
No. And so that's kind of what this week is about. We're going to have some just open, quick dialogue on what some of the episodes that we did, some of the topics and some learnings. And then, we'll toss in some of those episodes or key cuts from those episodes when we air this.
Sure.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So where do you want to start?
Well, I think we start with, hey, what have you been doing since our last episode, right?
Man. Yeah. Man, it's been a long time since we've done an episode, it seems like, right? So it's been hunting, but a lot of woodworking. And I guess the big topic that we talked about today is my wife and I have got 3 or 4 big projects over the winter time. And one of those is tackling honeysuckle around our main residence. So we have been chainsawing, cutting, pulling out, whatever. Not all the honeysuckle, because it would be a year-long event, and it would kill me. But around our house area and some places, we've got some great landscaping ideas, and we want to get rid of that honeysuckle and pile it up and burn it, and then be ready for landscaping in the spring.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh my gosh, Joel. I mean, we've been busy, right? So, I mean, for our listeners, I mean, if you haven't figured it out yet, we try to record 2-3 episodes at a time, and then what we'll do is stagger them as we implement. So it's probably been 2-3 weeks since we did our last episode. So, I mean, a lot's been going on. And for me, we've been hunting. I mean, we both have been hunting. First and second season shotgun has now finished. So I was fortunate to tag an animal in second season. Been working on Christmas gifts, just like you, doing some woodworking, and I find that more satisfying to make gifts versus buy gifts, that people maybe don't appreciate or don't want. Making tabletops, so I have some countertop or some coffee tables and end tables that I'm making some some tabletops for. I finished trimming out the schlage, which you helped me.
Yeah, I was going to say we had a 2 dumbass trimming party for a couple days and made a big dent in your trim in your house.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we're talking 15, 20 feet in the air. So having some help with that was a big deal. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
you
great.
for being on the ladder and me just running back and forth.
That was the least I could do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then lastly, just getting ready for winter. I mean, we've had kind of a mild winter thus far, so allowing me to get a few things done before winter gets here.
Yeah, we've truly been on borrowed time with the weather. So for today, I think the high is supposed to be around 50. It's a little chillier than 50, it feels like outside, but it's the late. It's a week, days before Christmas, and no snow, and the sun's shining, and it's sunny and warm outside.
And I was looking at the weather tomorrow. It's supposed to be a high of roughly 50, but a low of 10.
Yeah.
So it's coming.
Yeah. Winter is here.
Yep.
Yeah. We're on borrowed time, like I said. So, hey, let's dive right into this. Let's talk about some of the episodes that we did this year. just a couple brief words on each one, what you took away from it, and let's start with the pilot.
Well, so with our pilot episode, we kicked off basically. I mean, it was a short and sweet episode where we had a lot of learnings. We had learnings on audio, we had learnings on video, software. I mean, so I remember the pilot as, hey, it was great for us to kick it off, kind of dip our foot, if you will, in the water. But we've come a long way since then.
Yeah, I think I'm on my third different video camera. I know you've had a couple changes in there, and from a technology standpoint, we've come a long ways. We've got a long ways to go yet, but it was just scary. It was scary going through that learning phase. So, but fun. Mm-hmm. Seems like a long time ago.
It does.
Yeah. So you said it was 6 months?
About 5.5 months. So 5.5, 6 months.
Seems like forever ago.
It does.
Welcome, everyone, to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses. Our first episode, Tim. Our pilot episode is what we're calling it.
Yeah, so I'm excited, too. A little anxious with regards to, this is our first podcast. We have quite a few guests lined up, special guests that lined up that they'll help share their expertise. And again, I mean, this is about providing learnings to you as a listener. We've got Joel and I have a plethora, if you will, if that's the right word, of topics. I think we're up to 24 or 30 topics that we have lined up. JB Hunter Extraordinaire, who really is a good friend of ours and helped us kick off our podcast.
Yeah, and how could we forget that, right?
Yeah.
JB Hunter Extraordinaire. So we did, Living the Dream with JB Hunter Extraordinaire, and then we had a top 5, which was a big hit with our viewers. Thank you very much. We got some other people's top 5 equipment if you're going to own some land. But
and we are excited to introduce a very dear friend and a special guest for us, JB Hunter Extraordinaire. Hi, Joe. Welcome to our podcast.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting times. Glad to support your launch of this podcast.
Thanks, Joe. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, as you mentioned, a lifelong friend here. Actually met at the office. Hunted with you, and our family's kids grew up together as far as hunting. And it's just, I'm just honored to be here today because this is cool, talking about how we made that journey. Yeah. Sitting back and doing it.
Yeah, and I neglected to point out we've got a guest, not new to folks, our watchers, JB Hunter Extraordinaire. JB, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Joe, number 5.
I put a cordless drill.
Cordless drill.
And you ask, why is that, Joe? Good question.
Why is that, Joe?
Well,
all right. I have chainsaw on my list too, but it's not number 5. I'm just kind of giving you a little heads up there.
Doesn't mean you're wrong.
Doesn't. I think it does. Okay. Again, not sponsored by Steel, but we're open. We're always open, right? Right. So, all right. Disc.
So I got to tell you, Joe, I think his top 5 and my top 5 are like inverters.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you're only 5 miles apart, so I don't know. Crazy.
Exactly.
Another story with the deer.
There's another.
What's a deer sound like running through a tractor, a utility tractor, running through the timber unmanned? Didn't that get away from you too?
I think so
and hit
too.
A tree?
A deer, huh? You'll have to fill me in on that story.
Oh, I thought your John Deere had a similar experience.
Oh, I don't want to. Let's not talk about that. Just because that my wife wouldn't appreciate that. It was a little long. Maybe we'll talk about 2021 here in a little bit. But maybe we could coerce JB Hunter Extraordinaire to hit another podcast early in 21.
And and he tagged a nice animal, so maybe if we can get him to come down here, we can see the animal that he shot, and by that time we'll look at all of our animals and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe even feature the Buckus Award.
Yeah. So maybe we'll leave that hanging for right now. But there is, I think we've talked about that in a couple episodes, right? We have the Battle of the Farms, 3 or 4 different farms and friends going at it each year that get to to carry it. So we'll see if you're the trifecta reigning champ this year.
We'll see.
I'm not doing anything to take it away from you yet so far. And my wife shot a nice deer, but and Joe shot it. Joe JB hunter extraordinaire shot a really nice deer. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. So going back to the DNR series, we had 4 talented, dedicated folks that worked for the Iowa DNR: Kevin Anderson, Jeremy Cochran, Tyler Harms, and Dr. Rachel Rudin.
Yep.
So just recap on those. What was your takeaway from those events?
So we had, when you look at Kevin just brings so much energy, talks about wildlife habitat. It's his passion. I mean, he's got just oodles of experience. And I still keep in touch with Kevin today. I thought that was a great couple of episodes that we did.
Yeah. All right. So with that, let's get on with our show. I am really super excited to have Kevin Anderson here, and I think what I'd like to do is start off with Kevin. Why don't we do a quick intro and a little bit of bio so people understand your wealth of experience and knowledge that you're going to bring to our show today.
Okay. So you guys had talked to me about where did I come from, where did I grow up and stuff like that. And I very humbly grew up in west central Iowa on a close to 80-acre farm. It was my mom's parents' farm. And working on that edge is we're trying to let, the main thing is let that sunlight down and get on that edge and get another layer of habitat. Because we all know as deer hunters, it seems like the big buck will usually hang back, if he's coming out to a food plot, or he'll hang back on that edge until after dark. And then we know he's there, but we just can't see him. If we can kind of get him out on that brushy edge, we might get a chance to see him or harvest him.
We had Jeremy, who is a forester. He's been to both of our properties. He's been to yours a couple of times.
Yep.
And same with Kevin. I mean, just oodles of experience. Literally enjoy having these guys with us.
Jeremy, I'll let you introduce yourself, and your official title is District Forester for the state of Iowa.
Right. My name is Jeremy Cochran, and I'm the District Forester for the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. And my forestry office is in Sheraton at the Stevens State Forest Headquarters. And I provide technical assistance, forestry advice to private landowners in south central Iowa, and it includes Marion, Mahaska counties, Lucas and Monroe counties, and Wayne and Appaloosa counties.
So folks,
Now, the Lola grass doesn't fit into that. It's not an invasive species.
well,
It may be dominant.
it depends on your objective, I guess, Tim. I'm figuring these DNR guys out. It depends on your objective. That's always the answer, right? It could be.
Let me give you a little. So everything has trade-offs. You can burn your woods for good reason. You can overburn your woods and damage your trees. So everything has trade-offs. Yeah. And then I already forgot.
Well, I was just going to make a comment. You're a pretty black and white guy, aren't you? It's no gray area with you at all.
There's a lot of room for gray area, but the rules change.
Well, I think the big reason was you knew my list was getting shorter, so I needed to have a bigger list, right? So,
I'll give you more to do.
as I told you last time, every time I talk to you, I get a list for 5 years, and it's been about 5 years, so I'm due.
We moved into the biometrician, Tyler Harms. And Tyler's a great guy. I mean, when we did that interview, it was just like he's a professional.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely. So I'm an Iowa boy, born and raised. I grew up in north central Iowa near a small town called Titonka, kind of in the heart of what we call the prairie pothole region of Iowa. So up in the flat country where there's lots of grass and lots of wetlands. And lived up there for most of my life until I just embarked on a college career down here at Iowa State University. I got a bachelor's degree in what's called animal ecology from Iowa State. Shortly after that, continued on to get a master's degree in wildlife ecology from Iowa State. Folks, and the way I explain it is I'm a wildlife math guy. So as a biometrician, I provide technical guidance on statistics, population modeling, research and survey design to the entire Wildlife Bureau for the DNR. And then I'm also the deer deer program leader. So
What you said
everything
makes
that
total
comes
sense to me, right? I mean, from a harvest perspective, but putting you on the spot, how many deer do we have? Roughly?
How many deer do we have in the state of Iowa?
Roughly. I won't hold you to it. Plus or minus 50.
Oh, plus or minus 50,000. I would say, we'll say 450,000 deer in the state of Iowa.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus or minus 50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
500,000. So
About deer
20%.
today, but my last week has actually not really been related to deer. We have a project here with the DNR right now, looking at monitoring trumpeter swans, and so my last week's been chasing trumpeter swans around northern Iowa, and it's been a lot of fun. That's one of the joys of my job as the biometrician, is I get to embark on lots of fun projects on lots of different critters. So.
That's amazing. How big is kind of your average swan?
But adults probably about 20 pounds on average.
Big birds. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, these
they're
are one of the bigger birds out there, right?
biggest waterfowl species in North America. Yeah, so they're
Really?
a real big bird.
So when you say you're tracing them around, I mean, what's that mean? I mean, are you literally chasing them around, or?
We are, yeah. So the goal is to capture one of the adults, which right now the swan adults are molting, and they undergo what's called a simultaneous molt. So they molt all of their flight feathers at one time. So they're actually flightless for a certain period of time. And that's when we capture them, because they're easy to capture when they can't, or relatively easy to capture, I'll say, when they can't fly away from us. And so yeah, the way we do it is we put a boat in the water and we go after them and scoop them up in a net, essentially. And what we're doing is putting GPS collars on them so we can track the adult movements. And then we're also capturing the cygnets, or the young birds, with the adults. And we're marking them with just alphanumeric collars that you may have seen before on swans or geese. And we're going to use that information to try to estimate that first year survival, kind of information that we're hoping to get to inform a management plan for trumpeter swans that we're currently developing.
So I digress. And then when we got into with Rachel Rudin talking about wildlife diseases and specifically whitetails, she came with just some great insights. And we had robust discussion. I think one of the things she said is, she goes, hey, that was the most robust discussion she'd had on the two diseases that we talked about, CWD and EHD, in a long time. So I think that was a compliment to all of us, as far as being able to have that kind of an interaction. Now, I know when we look at our YouTube videos on how many times it's been watched, when you look at how many times it's been listened to on our audio books, it's probably one of the leading ones on our audio.
Sure. So I am Iowa's first state wildlife veterinarian. This is a position that was created right about the beginning of 2019. I assumed the role in July, so I just closed out 1 year in the job. So through that, I basically consult on all kinds of wildlife health morbidity, so meaning like disease, kind of ill or sick looking animals, and then mortality events, meaning, just dead animals that are found by landowners or, concerned citizens, that kind of thing. Through my role, I also have a 20% time commitment with the Iowa State, both the vet diagnostic lab and then also the vet school. So
let's talk diseases. So,
okay, my language.
So what are the main diseases? And let's just focus on whitetails, I think, and for this discussion. What are the main diseases that we're currently tracking for whitetails?
Sure. So there's two. Both are occasionally called like zombie disease or deer zombie disease. It's really a misnomer for both of them, and it leads to confusion. So the two diseases, separate diseases, are chronic wasting disease, which has kind of these long-term repercussions when it enters an area, and then epizootic hemorrhagic disease, sometimes just called hemorrhagic disease. So EHD, and that has kind of these short.
Yeah, my
podcast.
If I was going to encapsulate those four folks interviewed, because I know there was a part 1, part 2 on almost all of them. So, but man, what passion and what dedication, and then the knowledge that they share, and I really took away a lot of notes and knowledge on the programs and what's out there. I thought I knew a lot was out there, but they doubled or quadrupled that. So, and in fact, we'll be doing an episode in 21 on burning your forest, not burning, grasses or whatever, but we're going to be doing our forest burn, which was a recommendation from Jeremy, and we'll be doing that this winter. And the Equip program that he talked about is going to be supporting some of that burn.
Nice.
So cool, very cool. But our hats off to those folks. I hope to get more folks from the Iowa DNR in 21, and I'd love to see those guys come back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's skip ahead. We went to DNR series, and then Mr. Duncan. Duncan Taxidermy.
Yeah, he did a great job. Another individual just with some great passion. He's an award-winning taxidermist.
Yep.
He is in such demand that he actually has to cap how many mounts that he does a year, just because, if he didn't, he'd just be doing this, 24/7. And he brought some great insights, also affected some of our hunting strategies from our discussions off the side. So,
yeah, we haven't got to Stinky hunting yet, but I think he took you over the top on ozone.
He did.
Yeah,
he really
With
did.
that, let's cut over to our special guest, Ty Duncan of Duncan Taxidermy. I can't say enough about Ty. Ty's done some taxidermy for me, and he's won a ton of awards. He's highly decorated. We're going to come back to that in a little bit. But
yeah, let's see. I started doing this in 2013. I went to a school up in Wisconsin. It was a month-long course, and it was honestly just kind of like a basic. I've been full-time at doing this now this will be my 4th year, which isn't an eternity, but
yeah, but how old are you?
27.
27, and you've been doing this full-time for 4 years?
Yep. It'll be 4 years this coming March, I think is when I left my job.
Let's put this in
3.5.
perspective, Ty, is these shoes I got on are 27 years old.
So right here, there's a real fine, tight. It's extremely neat. Not all of them. This buck here, I don't know if you want to pan over and look at that. I want to say that's tick damage, or it might be from him being lazy when he goes over a barbed wire fence. And, he's rubbed a bunch of that hair off. And the client sent me a picture of it when he killed it. And I was like, man, he's got a beautiful face and an awesome rack, but what do you want to do about the brisket and the shoulders? And he's like, leave it alone. That's how he was. And that's how I want him to look. And I respect that.
Yeah, when I think about that episode with Ty, I've used the word passion, but he really had some passion and a lot of passion. It was hard to keep that passion contained sometime when we're making an episode out of it. But, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he has enough passion that he's 100% taxidermy now, right?
100%. I think he's been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. So, that's dedication and something that you really love. So, took a lot away from that to see the animals that he's working on. I would love to get back out there and see what, he's working on in 2020. Mm-hmm. We talked about some options there. So,
yep.
Cool. And then, we kind of teased Stinky hunting, right? So that was our latest and greatest one. Part 1 and Part 2 is out now. And what was your takeaway on that?
Scent control. It's really around routines. I know between JB, yourself, and I, we talk quite often with regards to, hey, what do you do? What's your routine? Learned from each of you, and then just tweaking your strategies. And I think between us, we have some winning strategies right now. I know I feel very confident, and we talked about that. I spoke about those products and our routines in those videos, and I would encourage everybody to go and look at that, to help you prep for your hunting if you haven't already seen it.
Yeah, and we're not sponsored by any of those products, but that's what I really enjoyed about that episode was kind of the show and tell piece.
Yeah.
We both went to our hunting lockers and just pulled stuff off and said, "Hey, how would this fit into an episode?" And it was enlightening to me to see how much stuff I actually have. I thought I had trimmed it down, but I got a lot of scent control or scent related products that I did not know I had, and it was good dialogue, and it really worked really well to be able to demo those products and things like that.
Excellent.
It's fun.
Yeah,
fun.
it was fun. But with that, I think that's enough of what we've been doing. Let's get into our topic. I know our listeners are excited to hear this, and our topic's really around scent control for hunting. And so with that, we have a plethora of products that we're going to share into three elements: masking, elimination, and then attractants. We've got kind of two, so I'm going to put those out here for both of them, right? And it's nose jammer. So one's a body wash and the other one's a spray. And would you like to talk about them? We're both going to talk about this one.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we are advocates of nose jammer.
Yeah.
What, 4 years now?
Yep.
4 years ago. And if you haven't used nose jammer, it's not like a nose scent or something that you spray and you're not going to smell anything. This actually smells good. It smells like an air freshener you spray in your house.
Vanilla.
Kind of vanilla-ish, right?
Yeah.
The reading the label, and I guess I believe it because I've seen it, is it contains an ingredient that when an animal, this case a deer, smells this, it locks up their sensories that's kind of all they can smell.
So Joel, I've also gone into the ozone, and like I've seen some improvements in my concealability. And so what I've done is I chose to go with the Scent Crusher tote bag. Pretty nice. It's a rollaway bag. I can put a ton of gear in here. It's got a rapid descenting mechanism, so it'll run anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes. And,
if you had to recap 2020 as far as the episodes that we've done, what would be a paragraph that you'd recap?
So I think one of the key things is from listener feedback is that tips and tricks. People are looking for more tips and tricks versus just yours and my dialogue on concepts. So I think we look forward to doing more tips and tricks and trying to keep them short so that people can get through them relative ease. That's probably our number one thing. I think having special guests adds richness to the discussions and adds to our learnings as well. So I think we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, I agree. My add to that would be one, if you're thinking about doing a podcast, we thought about this for a long time. We planned for a long time, but there's a point where you just got to take that step and do it, right? And don't be afraid to fail. And it's going to be a learning curve. We've got a big learning curve ahead of us yet, but I think we've come a long ways.
Yeah, and we're not perfect.
Everybody out our audience knows by now we're not perfect.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll close this episode out at the end with some of those imperfect moments or bloopers we'll add in there. But some things that just didn't make the final cut.
We are two dumbasses for a reason.
That's right.
The other thing to take in consideration is, scratch all of this, Joel. We're going to start from new.
Yep, because it's going to go into your speaker, your mic.
Yep.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Hi, welcome. Perfect.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
You know, hey, can I digress again? I am the master digressor. So, you know, you talk about steering a battleship. My family always tells me I know a little bit about a lot of things, which is usually amounts to worthless information. You guys ever heard of the Trim Tab Society?
Trim.
Trim Tab Society.
Trim Tab Society.
I haven't.
So look it up. Google. So it might.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, Kevin. You know what? Let's scratch that. All right. Hang on. Okay. Cool. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Welcome to Midwest Hunting and. Let's do it again. All right.
Pretty funny. You know, the other thing that we've been doing really is if you look at what our biggest, I mean, with the exception of our pilot, as it should be our number one, if you look at the trajectory of our episodes, probably in the last 6-8 weeks, they really, I mean, it's really climbing. I mean, if you look at our the solar, the turkey mount, even the turkey mount solar is going to hit 200 probably in the next week, and it's only been out really a month. Scent controls at over 150 already, and it's only been out a couple weeks. So you start to look at these things; they're all showing, hey, we're starting to do the right things.
Yeah.
Right. People want to hear about, and it's. I really expect some of our episodes to really take off next year.
Yeah, so as long as we're talking about that, let's talk about 2021. And, you know, I don't think anybody's going to nail us down to this, but what are your thoughts? What can our audience expect from us in 2021?
Well, food plots, for one. I mean, we have a gentleman that's going to be a special guest. He's super knowledgeable. We tried to get him on this fall, and he was just so busy that it just didn't work for him. So we'll probably film that in January, but probably publish it later on in the year.
Perfect timing, right?
Yep.
Yep.
He's going to be super knowledgeable. Herbicides. And you talked about burns, but there are needs for chemicals, and you and I have talked about that over the time, and you have some experience with herbicides. We will probably try to bring in an experienced guest so we can talk about, you know, when's the right time to apply pre-emergence, how do you determine what to apply, tons of things there.
Yeah, and I need some help there. I'm not going to fight water hemp this year, you know, so we'll go from there. But yeah, and in addition to that, as we're, you know, kind of in parallel doing this episode, we're working on tips and tricks on doing European mounts.
That's right.
So I think in general, if you concur with this, what our audience can expect from us in 2021 is maybe more episodes, but shorter in length. You know, we heard folks loud and clear from a feedback standpoint. Love the interviews, but it'd be great to interject live scenes with that. So if we're going to be talking about herbicides, hey, go out in the bean field and let's go look at some of those weeds, and then mix that in with the table talk, right? Those are all, you know, just the tip of the spear here that we're thinking about doing in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at our catalog, we're probably sitting on 40 topics right now.
Yeah, and in addition to that, you know, we're talking about maybe trying to pursue some sponsors. So if there's some sponsors out there that would like to get in a front end, kick-ass, dumbass episodes, give us an email, give us a call, and what else?
Well, I mean, and so we talked about we'd like to get some. We've been doing a lot of focus on deer hunting, but you know, there's upland birds. You know, from a pheasant and quail perspective, we might do some goose hunting episodes here this spring.
Tree rats.
Yes.
Tree rats, and then
Squirrel hunting.
You know what spring brings? Massive raccoons, right? So
Turkey hunting.
yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, are we at a point where we can, thank our audience and maybe close out this episode?
And I think we need to remind them that, hey, we're still, there's 2 weeks left of our contest right now, or for our Stinky hunting. And basically reiterating that is our Stinky hunting is we're looking for suggestions on what's your routine on scent control, and either send us an email at midwesthuntingandoutdoors@gmail.com. You can put it right there on our videos, and we're going to have a drawing. And what are we going to give them, Joel? What are we giving them?
Yeah, so we've got a Two Dumbass hat that's going with it, and a very warm and welcoming and coveted koozies.
Yep.
I think there's only 8 of these koozies out in the world right now, so they're rare.
That's right.
Yeah.
So get your suggestions in. We've got more than a couple right now. Most people have been putting them in emails, but I'd actually encourage them to put it in on YouTube, because that way other people can see them other than just us.
And then I'll just put in a cue here is that, if you really want to dress and look good, don't forget about your Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbass merchandise, which is available on our website or via email, right?
Yeah, you gotta love these Carhartt rain defenders. I mean, they're super sweet.
Yeah, we got T-shirts, hats, koozies, you name it, we got it. So cool. In closing, I would just like to thank our audience for being patient with us and going on this journey with us. It's been fun. It's everything I thought it would be and more. And thank you for the feedback to make us continue to get better.
Yep.
Right. So, but it's been good. And, I want to thank you, Tim, for putting up with me and having a good year in 2020.
Oh gosh. Great partner.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yep.
But like any episode that we close, right?
Yep.
So be safe, have fun, and get outdoors. Thanks for listening or watching our show. We have some exciting topics and guests coming up.
We ask that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
We look forward to hearing your suggestions for topics,
Questions and comments. This is Two Dumbasses signing off. Until next time,
Be safe,
have fun, and get
outdoors.
outdoors.